We should have switched seats and be like, what happened?
Are we back now? Sorry about that. We had a technical issue.
Yeah, if you're still with us, we had
The man tried to shut us down.
Sorry.
Damn the man.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway. Yeah, there you go. Now you guys can see what we're talking about. So yeah, he's really
massive creature.
Massive.
Supposedly sleeps underneath the sea and
the creepiest thing about him, I think, is his mind control.
Yeah.
And I think that's the theme that most games play off of, is this sense of paranoia.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I even want to touch on Silent Hills a little bit, because that's the experience of Silent Hills, is this paranoia, especially Silent Hills 2. Is, what is reality? What's actually happening?
Very psychological horror,
Extremely. And, even in the game Cthulhu Saves the World, the whole point of that game is you take over people and have them help you, conquer the world. And so that theme of mind control, and we don't really control our own destiny, but rather our destiny is set by these old gods, really does play a lot into gamer culture.
And one thing, this just reminded me of, you're talking about how one of Cthulhu's aspects is, his influence on the mind. Going back to Bloodborne and even further back to another From Software game that came, the Dark Souls precursor, Demon Souls. There's an enemy type in that game. They're called Mind Flayers. And they walk around, they have tentacles on their face. I mean, they're a lot of Cthulhu imagery. Well,
and the Mind Flayers originally are from Dungeons and Dragons. And I think Dungeons and Dragons pulls a lot of its mythos from Lovecraft. And really, Lovecraft was one of the first writers to have this otherworldly idea of what's going on in the world, right? And not so much like fantasy. I mean, there were fantasy writers before Lovecraft, but this is the first time that we've seen, like, all of his stories start out fairly normal. Mm-hmm. They start out with normal people doing normal things,
small towns, sleepy type villages,
and they end up under the control of Cthulhu, and they end up murdering everybody, killing people, doing all sorts of things.
In the Elder Scrolls Oblivion, there's a side quest. I think it's called The Old Ones.
Yeah, The Old Ones. I remember this.
But it's very loosely based on the Call of Cthulhu story.
Right.
There's this village of characters that are trying to resurrect the Old Ones, as they call them, and they're all like, these people all live in tunnels under the ground and stuff, and it's kind of a creepy little side quest,
Yeah.
So we see the influence everywhere. I think the first time I really saw it in gaming, or really started to pay attention to it in gaming, I've read his works.
Hey, Riley One's on.
Riley One.
Hello.
And his first question is Magic Wolf.
Where's Magic Wolf? We're missing him too.
Yeah, we haven't seen Magic Wolf for a few days.
You scared him away.
If we knew who he was in real life, we'd text him and be like, "What up, bro?" But
unfortunately, does anybody know him?
It's a mystery.
We do not.
We had him on the show once, but I don't know who he really is.
We don't have that sort of intelligence.
Nope.
Anyway, so one of the first times I recognized the Cthulhu mythos in gaming was in a game called Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. Mm-hmm. Came out on the GameCube. It was developed by Silicon Knights, but it's very focused on this cosmic sense of cosmic happenings going on in the game. You don't play as one character; you play as multiple characters over thousands of years,
right?
And it deals with the old, they call them the ancient ones in this one, but it even has an effect in it that Nintendo patented they called it the sanity meter. And what would happen is, as you saw these monsters in the game, your sanity would drop, and if it got to a certain point, weird things would start happening with the game. Like your character would walk into a room and all the monsters would be big, or you'd walk into a room, your character's head would fall off that used to be walking around, but then it would even break the fourth wall. It would tell you that your memory card had been corrupted, or it would act like it had switched the input selection on your television. And very much, very much focusing on the mind, this psychological manipulation.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think, I mean, this is kind of taking it a little bit farther, but the bigger question for me is, why do we see these themes crop up in games so often? I mean, there's not a whole lot of, like, this is a repetitive theme in gaming, but I think Lovecraftian themes just keep coming back.
It's really found ground in the gaming culture.
It really, yeah, it has. I mean, like, one of the more interesting games, the indie games that just came out, is Darkest Dungeon, which that was like 2 months ago. It came out 2 months ago.
Yeah, around that time.
Can you pull it up? Show them the. You know, this game, Darkest Dungeon, is very much just a visual representation of Lovecraftian.
Yeah,
themes.
it's very dark. It's very dirty. It's
and it has that same